Oh yeah, that's a nice head. That's a 5 pound head, dude. That's a 5 pound head. Oh, he just frickin' threw it. What the shit? Hold on. You show him to the camera? Yeah. So day 2 of our Bass Fishing Series Championship, and we started the Series Championship in 22nd place, and after day 1, a great day 1, we moved up to 14th place. And so now we're reordered for the second day and we're headed out for day 2 of the championship. And today's gonna prove interesting because it's the first time in our team series tournament fishing career where we've had to make the decision, hey, should we go for this and try to win it, or should we stay on what we've got and try to grind out the best finish we can? We've never been in that position before. Today we were thrown into that, and it'll be interesting to see what decisions we make here, and love to know the decisions you might make in a similar situation. But it was cool to be in that position. So off to day 2.
Not asking for much. 20 points.
Justin Antonio, official time 6:51.
So here we are, we're off in good position and we're headed back to the same place we started day 1 at. We had a successful start, so we thought we would go right back and see if we couldn't duplicate the same thing, make some adjustments on the fly. A little foggy start, but had to get through some of that same tricky shallow water bridge, narrow bridge, to get to the far side of the reservoir that we got through on day 1, and had a little bit of a delay here as another boat in front of us had no trolling motor and was jumping out of the boat to pull their boat through the obstacle. So we had a little bit of a delay getting out of there, but always interesting maneuvering around in shallow water. So we were running up the river and something kind of weird happened. We were going to go to our first spot that we did well on the first day, but there was some duck hunters posted up there. It was a opening weekend of duck hunting, and there was a duck blind, and it was a narrow channel going into another area of the lake. And they were posted up, and a boat in front of us shot through there in front of the duck hunters, and the duck hunters blew off shots above their heads with their shotguns and kind of scared the hell out of everybody. And we decided not to follow them right in front of the duck hunters, thinking that this is just going to be an early morning thing for them and they're probably going to be up and out of there as soon as the sun gets up, and the sun was on the tree line. So we decided to go away from that and ran up the reservoir a little bit to a shoreline where we had some production and missed a fish, missed a key fish on day 1, and we thought we would go there first. And when we got there, a couple things happened. Alex was following up from yesterday with his jerkbait, which was turned out to be a good subtle adjustment. And I threw on a Nico rig, and we caught 2 fish right away. So we had 2 fish in the boat, bing bang. And you'll see the tail end of it here. We're getting this jerkbait fish in, and I had previously caught a fish on a Nico rigged Zoom Baby brush hog, and I've got a video on that technique with that Nico rig Zoom Baby brush hog, deadly technique. And so things had changed. Again, in practice we were catching them on fire on topwater and caught some nice ones on topwater the previous day, first day of the tournament. But we had to make an adjustment because, again, second day of east wind, sun was coming up, a little cooler. You can see we've got hats on here and we're dressed up a little warmer. It's cold in the morning and the start in the fall. And so we're slowing down, and the fish bit on the pause on the jerkbait, and then the fish picked up that Nico rig bait that was crawling on the bottom. And so fish number 3, we went to an area of the river on our way back to the original spot. So now we're going to go back towards those duck hunters and see if we can get past them, see if they left. And as I was topwatering my way through this area yesterday that I tried to force a fish to eat a topwater in, Alex went and pitched his tube back in and got fish number 3 in the boat. So right away, you know, we're in our second spot. We're putting our third keeper in the boat, so we're feeling really good. about how things are progressing so far, even though, like I said, bluebird skies, but got production going already, fish 3 in the boat, feeling good. So duck hunters have pulled out and gone. Now we can get through that narrow channelway without getting shot at or shot over. And we make our way back to where we started the day on day 1. And when we got there, there was some other anglers there on day 1. They had kind of gone, that bite had kind of died. Remember I said the topwater bite had died. There wasn't as much fish activity. And what it was is they were still there. They had just slowed down. And so here, as I was again trying to force them to eat the topwater that I did so well in practice with, Alex is back on the jerkbait and the long pauses. Now the jerkbait is starting to resonate with us, right? After we got this will be fish number 4 in the boat on the jerkbait, and we're starting to feel good here. You know, we got early in the day yet. We're on spot number 3. We're putting our 4th fish in the boat, so we're feeling good. But the jerkbait is now resonating because it's a thing, right? They've moved off the topwater, and now they're biting a jerkbait. And so now we moved down the system a little bit. We were fishing some areas where there were some bait fish on points, and that wasn't happening. Those bait fish weren't there. So we moved down the lake a bit, and we found some cribs. And what we noticed, we both tied on jerkbaits, right? We didn't need anything else to tell us we needed to have a jerkbait on. And we were throwing a jerkbait, and I threw a cast near a crib, jerked it a few times, and I was probably fishing it pretty fast. So I'm jerk, 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 jerk. And I saw 4 fish come up out of that crib after that jerkbait and just didn't commit to it. And so I told Alex, 4 of them, got 4 of them right here. He threw over there and blindly, jerked, and he paused longer than I did. And you've got to experiment with that cadence to find out if those fish will bite. And forward-facing sonar helps because you can see it. But in his case, he just went out there, blindly casted in that direction, got the bait down, and then was able to pause it long enough where he gets fish number 5 hooked up. And now we've got our limit on the second day, and literally, we haven't even fished 2 hours yet. So we've got a limit in the boat. Now we are feeling great. And now it's decision time. And I talked about it at the beginning of the video, but here we are, so we've got 13 pounds, the decision is, do we stay in this area and do we go after, and do we, day 1 we had 15.6 pounds and that was good. And we knew that if we could go back and get another 15 pounds, we're going to finish in the top 5, right? That's how the tournament played out. But, it was taking 20 pounds in practice to do anything, 21, 22, 23. But this high pressure moved in, and first place on day 1 was 17.8, and we had 15.6. Day 2 is always a different story, and somebody's going to go get, 16, 17 pounds on day 2, even in tough conditions. That always happens. But we knew that if we got another 15 pounds, 15 and a half pounds, we were going to be in the top 5, and that's how it would have played out. We'd have been in 3rd. So we had a decision make. Do we stay here the rest of the day and grind this out and try to get, 2nd, 3rd, or 3rd or 4th or 5th place? Or do we go for it? Because in practice, we caught some giant fish. We caught huge, a 7-pound largemouth, a 5-pound largemouth, all off the same wood. And so that was on the other end of the reservoir, and it was through a long no-wake section. But we knew that if we've got a limit now, we're gonna finish reasonably well in this thing. But if we want a chance to win it, we're probably gonna have to take a chance and go all the way across this reservoir and no wake for 2 hours to make 5 casts in an area at a piece of wood where the water was even dropping a little bit, not drastically dropping, but falling. So it was a huge gamble. And we looked at each other and we're just like, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Let's try to win. We haven't been in this position before. We got a limit. Let's swing for the fences. There was some spots we had, maybe if we had enough time when we got out of there, where we could cull up a little bit, and maybe still have a crack at that, 3rd, 4th, 5th position. But we're not going to win it with the bite situation that we had. We just didn't have the fish. We had the fish to finish 4th or 5th, get another 15, 16, 15 and a half pounds and finish with 31 pounds. And 34 pounds ended up winning it. So long story short, we made the run. So here we are, we're on the log. We made the long run all the way across the reservoir, slow, no wake, and we're on the log, the piece of wood where we caught the 2 big fish, the 7 and the 5. Alex throws in there, bam, he's hooked up. He says it's big. We're thinking, oh my goodness, here we go. It's a decent fish, gets it in. You know, it's 3 pounds. And, you know, it was, hearts were in our throat for that 1 second, you know, same bait, same log, same pitch, instant bite, and here we go. And as luck would have it, it's a 3 pounder, not a 7 or a 5 pounder. But we culled up a little bit, and you know, just one of those things that could have very easily been one of those big fish. It probably wasn't because the water had fallen and they had repositioned, but there was still some fish in the area, and just, you know, kind of an interesting swing for the fences. Kind of interesting that on the first pitch he gets bit. Kind of a cool situation. So now it's getting later in the day. We had burned a ton of time getting down here. We got to our log, we caught that fish, culled up a touch, and now we're just checking the shoreline out, and I got my big Super Spook back on, and I'm just working the weed line to see if the fish had pulled out from the falling water. And here we got a nice topwater smallmouth of all things, all the way back here in largemouth country. But, you know, had a bonus smallmouth for fish number 7. We're able to cull up a little bit here. And this would prove to be our final cull and our final fish, because we had to make, you know, we had 2 hours to idle out of this place to get back to the lake, to try to get back to a couple areas we could quickly fish before we had to go weigh in. And so we're back at the landing and we're weighing in. We ended up with 13.6 pounds, and that was good enough to finish in 16th place out of 60 boats. So we ended up dropping a couple of places from day one, but that was part of that decision-making process. I believe we finished the tournament with 29.1 pounds for our 2 days, and 34 pounds won it. So the field was tight from 16th to 1st, you know, to be, you know, split by 4 pounds. You know, 30 pounds finished in 7th place. You know, and if we, you know, got our 15.5, we would have finished in 5th place. So right where we thought we would be had we not swung for those fences, grinding out, you know, a few pounds, you know, probably a pound cull upgrade would have had us in 5th place. So the difference between, you know, finishing the tournament in 16th and 5th was a fish, literally 1 cull. And, you know, like I said, if you boat that 7-pounder that we had in practice or catch a 5 and a 4 back there, you know, we're flirting with, you know, we're trying to win this thing. So we really wanted to swing for the fences, had some opportunities. It was a great championship. It was a great fishery. It's too bad, like always, that these weather fronts move in. You know, practice is great, and then you have some weather system move in that makes things difficult. These high skies, calm winds. That place just laid down, you know, after all the pre-fishing pressure, great fishing conditions, and then to have everything kind of come together on the championship and still be able to put 30 pounds in the boat in 2 days is still pretty phenomenal. So it's a, you know, it was a great fishery, great championship. Learned a lot. Actually got to apply some adjustments on the fly. You know, I've been caught so many times, and I fished a fair amount with that bait that I did well in practice too. I super spooked the heck out of that place. And, you know, it took Alex's thinking to slow down and, you know, making some of those adjustments with the jerk bait and the Nico rig and the tube to be able to get key fish in the boat at different times of the day. So it was good that we made a lot of adjustments, fished well, you know, catch that 4-pounder on day 1 that we booted, and get a kicker fish on day 2 from one of our backup spots, and we were in the running in this one. So it feels good to finish in. This is a difficult series. There was an Elite Series Pro fishing in this. There are Elite Series Pro anglers who do fish in this Upper Midwest Bass Challenge series. A lot of good BASS anglers and other professional anglers have moved through here, so it's a stacked team series, and it has 3 divisions. So good challenge out there, both from the lake standpoint, the weather condition standpoint, and against some fantastic anglers. So fun times. Everybody loves their tournament series championship, and this was another one for the books for us, no doubt. Learned a lot. Yeah, I hope you found this video entertaining, educational. What would you do in this situation where you had to make a decision? Do you swing for the fence and try to win it? Or do you play a conservative and try to stay in one area and see if you can grind out a good finish? Interested to know what you think? Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time on the water.